The birds are chirping. There's still some green out. Here we are with friends too. The courage to be free, to live a life of ease into infinity. Is it a possibility? To imagine and to seize this moment and go deep into the reality that we create all that can be. That magic and surprise I see in my child's eye, that high pitch in her voice, 'cause she knows she has a choice to fly out into space, to save the human race, or see it as complete with all its synchronicity. Universe, unified. Universe. Just one, that everything's for us. No reason to make a fuss.
Yes, no reason to make a fuss. Fuzz, 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 fuzz. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. I am Frankie Timmers, and I'm the spiritual director here. And a special welcome always to those of you who are here in person, because there's a whole different connection, vibe, and energy, so I'm always glad you're here. But also a special welcome to those of you who are virtual today, which I know could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be, 5, 10 years from now. So there's a special feeling of welcome and a special feeling of connecting now that we have both in person and virtually. I have a special thank you for anyone who served while I was away on a very wonderful vacation on a road trip through the Northeast, especially Michael, who took care of the virtual service with Reverend Patrick Harbula, and then Reverend Michelle, who was here with Gail, it's really wonderful to have Reverend Michelle, who kind of has her roots here, to come and to share her beautiful wisdom. So for those of you who are new, we have something special today. If you're here in person, you get a free book. And I know you're not new, but we'll count you as new. So those of you who haven't been in a while, just grab one of the books. We have books on sale. There's lots of them. I can't believe it. Every week I find one or two to take home. But they're $5 for the soft covers and $10 for the hard, which is quite a deal. So, and thank you to Frannie to always be behind the table when she's here. So check out our website, which has been updated, and there's lots of wonderful stuff on there. One of the things that you want to take a look at is it's almost fall this week, Wednesday at 3:20 p.m. And we have fall classes. So this is what happens when you take a class. Something happens in your consciousness. You get to look at the beliefs that no longer serve you, and you get to release them and change them and replace them with ideas of truth. In this class, from whence we came, we go to where the world was before Dr. Ernest Holmes created the Science of Mind philosophy, where he studied Thomas Troward, which created some of the theory, Emma Curtis Hopkins, which brought in the mysticism, and then Emerson, who brought in the poetry and the wisdom of transcendentalism. So this is a class on Zoom, so anyone can take it. So the flyers are on the back table, and on Tuesday from 7 to 8, there's a free introduction class. So we're just going to have some fun. So anybody can join that. You need a special Zoom link for that. I have that available. Just ask. But it's also been emailed out to everybody who's on our email list. So today, what I'm going to talk about is the topic Lean on Truth. And where I want to take you is to really look at some of the areas in your life where you're not leaning on truth, where you might be struggling. Because that's your growing edge. That's where the universe is asking you to grow and to evolve so that you're free. Because sometimes we carry limiting beliefs with us all our life, and it's like we're never free of them. But we don't have to be caught in that. We can be free of that. So we're going to work with that. I really love to create an experience on Sunday, so you're not just sitting there listening like a blob, but you're having an experience, and that you walk out here a different person than that walked in. So what we're going to do is we're going to welcome those experiences that maybe previously we called as shitty, and then we're going to do that by leaning on the truth. One of the ways that allows us to be here today is because of your generosity. And so if you wish to give and you wish to give back, there are many different ways that you can do that at our center. My personal favorite is just a text to give, and there's another flyer on the back table that gives you all the different ways that you can give and support this community. If you are on Facebook, say hi, use the bubbles, comment, ask questions, make suggestions about future topics or what you'd love to see happen here with our community. And if you're on YouTube, I think you only have the thumbs up or the thumbs down, which we welcome both because it's just feedback that we can use to do even better. So let's begin then with the other thing I want to remind you of is that I'm doing a relationship workshop in October. So that's on the back table. And October is going to be here before we know it, right? On October the 3rd, there is the Morristown Festival on the Green. It's back. And our beautiful Val Daliacano is leading that, and she has a few volunteers, but she would love a couple of more. So if some of you would like to spend 2 hours on the Green during the festival, which by the way is lots of fun, we have a booth, a table, and we love everybody to know about our spiritual community and our teaching. So you can help. Just Val, wave and go say, I'll come and help. It's from 12 to 5, so there's a window either to pick up stuff and set up or to break down or to just be there and be the beautiful self that you are for all those who pass by our booth. So make sure you check that out. All right, let's do an opening treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes, unless you're driving or walking or whatever. And know with me there is a divine presence. We don't have to question that. We don't have to wonder about that. We don't have to ask that. We know that because the sun rose today, and summer is moving into fall instead of winter or spring. So that is that divine, perfect intelligence that is present in everyone, everything, everywhere, all the time. And as the infinite intelligence already within us, available to be used, to be experienced, to be felt, to be known, to be seen, and to be spoken with every word. And so today we love that, meaning we infuse that with love and we suspend any fear, any judgment, any questioning, any strong opinion either way. We simply allow ourselves to feel it, to experience, to know it, and then to embody it, specifically in the areas where we might be challenged, so that we are the evolving, growing, individualized expressions of the one that we are, so that our soul can experience a more expansive way of being in the world. And so I celebrate this, especially with Theo today as he assists as a practitioner, and with Monica as she shares her beautiful music, and any and all volunteers, because I know that each of us are in service to the divine, to the greater good, that can never be returned to us void. So we all revel in the joy of that. Grateful then for this moment, this breath, this experience, this being together as a spiritual community. We turn this word over to the universal law, which knows exactly how to demonstrate it in the highest and best ways. And so it is. Oh, that was a big breath. So, I don't think that anyone on this planet today is immune to any stress, right? It seems like the world and all the people in it are more stressed than we've ever been. Whether that is the environment, whether that is the politics, whether that is health with the pandemic, whether that is financial, emotional, spiritual, mental, individually and collectively, I feel like we're in a snow globe, right? And it's being shaken all the time. Anybody here experience life as a little rocky? Maybe a little rockier than it's been ever before? I know some of you don't experience that or are completely immune to it or in complete denial, whatever that is. I don't have a judgment about it, but it's just like if we are paying attention, something is happening in the world. Something is being really shaken up. I mean, look at what's happening to our climate, to the weather. I was not here on September 1st. We were driving up to Saratoga Springs through torrential rains, but when we watched the news, we saw what happened. And some of you lost your home, lost everything in it. I don't know specifically, but I know some people that had a lot of damage. And when I drive from New Brunswick to here, I'm on River Road, and I couldn't believe when I got back how much stuff was on the side of the road from people's homes that was obviously flooded or damaged. And so I would guess that besides the challenges that we're experiencing, we might feel more vulnerable. I feel more vulnerable, and some of that is because of the healing experience that I'm having physically. But I definitely feel more vulnerable, and when I speak to people, that seems to be something we have in common, right? So what I would like you to do, you have a card and a pen. So I would like you to take your card and your pen. If you don't have one, raise your hands, those of you who are here, and Rashi will be so kind to give it to you. I want you to really follow my directions, because the more clearly you follow my directions, the more you're going to have a shift in consciousness. You're going to write down only one thing. I know some of you have hundreds, but you can only write down one thing. And that one thing is guarantee you there is something. There has to be something. If not, you're not growing. So either make it up, or maybe it's something in the past that still niggles at you, maybe when you're in a specific situation. But one thing, and keep it as simple as you can, just write down one thing that you say, this is shaking me right now. This is something I'm challenged with. This is something I'm struggling with. This is something that is really on my mind and on my heart a lot, where I feel the most vulnerable. And it can be something from the present moment or recent, or it can be something from the distant past or somewhere in between. So take a moment to write that down. And so I want us for a moment to think about the things that are shaking us up and asking ourselves the question, what happens when I feel so shaken up? What happens when I feel the most vulnerable? What's happening in me? What are my feelings? What are my thoughts? What do I believe in that moment? That's incredibly important information because it makes you more conscious. The whole idea is to be more conscious of what you think, what you feel, what you're experiencing, and what you believe, because you can do something with that. Because if it's not conscious, it's still there, and it might very well be in the way. So I believe that I'm incredibly blessed. The first thing I do when I awaken in the morning, and the last thing I do before I go to sleep, is I practice gratitude. I let myself feel blessed with all that I have, all that I get to do, and all that I am, no matter what. In this healing journey since the spring, I've had really bad days. I want you to know, I've had really bad days, worse than ever in my life. And yet, I still felt blessed. I still woke up with a long list of gratitudes, and I still went to sleep with a long list of gratitudes, because I am crystal clear that where I am in my consciousness, I create my experience. So for me, I must wake up with a feeling of blessedness, and I must go to sleep with a feeling of blessedness. And hopefully, which for me is true, during the day in between as well. And so, the main reason, teaching. If I did not have this teaching, I don't know if I would be doing that, or I could. And whether that is the Science of Mind teaching, or whatever else belief you have, or whatever other faith you have, it doesn't matter. It's about the spiritual path. My heart goes out to all the people on the planet that do not have a spiritual path, that do not have faith, that do not believe, that don't have a particular teaching. Because when we have that, then there's always ground beneath our feet, no matter how much the earth shakes. The ground beneath our feet is solid. No matter what happens, we have something to lean onto. And for us, that's all the truth principles. So we believe at the foundation of what we teach that all is well no matter what. That spirit, the universe, is greater than I am. It's within me, and it is my guide. It is my support. So it challenges me, right, to see, well, what do I believe? What do I really believe? Do I believe that the universe supports me, or do I not? Do I believe that I'm ever guided, or do I not? Do I believe that it is the universal power of love that heals me, or do I not? And so we want to really think about that and play with that and enjoy that and use that as a way to feel blessed. When we're leaning on the truth, it's much more easy to let go of the lies that we have come to believe. And because we are present, we are conscious of what those are. If I'm experiencing fear and I lean on the truth, which says love is all there is, I can let go of fear. And so it is with many other things that might be part of what's on your card. This teaching says we can free ourselves of any limiting belief, any limiting idea, because it's just something we hold in consciousness. And therefore, we can let it go. Somewhere we picked it up. So that means somewhere we can let it go. We believe in the healing power of the universe, of God, of spirit, of divine love. So no matter what is broken, it can be healed. We have to think about what we believe about that. And some of that is not even conscious. So we get to make it conscious. Because healing is not curing. Healing is remembering that we are inherently whole because of that spiritual foundation. And so the difference of being and thinking and believing then is, I welcome life, all of it, instead of I fight life, or I fight this, or I fight that, or I fight this person, or that thing, or this thing. Because see, when we fight, we can't let it go. It is in the welcoming that we can choose to let go of something that doesn't serve us. And the reason we talk about welcoming all of life and all experiences is because we understand that we're here to evolve, that we're here to grow. We're not here to regress. We're not here to stay stuck in our muck or in our rockiness or in our challenges. We're here to grow and to evolve as humanity. And if you look at what's going on in the world, you can tell the deep need of that transformation, that healing, that evolution. And because we're on a spiritual path, we must be a part of it. We are responsible. So the responsibility is not just to ourselves. It's to all of humanity, because humanity is a reflection of us, right? And so we think of what you wrote down, we want to think of what you wrote down as your growing edge. You wrote that down because you are ready to grow and to evolve. You are ready to outgrow what's on your card. You are ready to be free of it. You are ready to heal that. Or it wouldn't be in your conscious mind, or you would not have written it down. That's how powerful it is. So you get to see yourself as a growing, evolving, thriving spiritual being, or you get to see yourself as a victim of your circumstances. It's up to you. And if you see yourself as a victim of your circumstances, you are part of the problems on the planet and the problems of humanity, because there is no here and there, this and that, this person and that, the one and the many. It's all one thing. And so, by the way, it ain't all smooth. Some of those growing edges are painfully sharp and raggedy and challenging and painful. I know. But the beauty is that when we look at it as a growing edge rather than a burden or a struggle or a suffering, is that it has the potential to transform our beliefs, to expand our consciousness, to be free and therefore be in service to humanity in a whole different way. That's deep and powerful work. And that's why you're here. That's why you're on a spiritual path. It's not for entertainment. In the quote, in the blurb that we emailed out, there was a quote by Irish poetess Mary O'Malley, where she said, "What's in the way is the way." So what you wrote down is something that's in the way, but it's the way to a healing. And if we can see it that way, it changes everything, right? So instead of looking for a stable place or something around certainty, I've noticed with my experience that I want guarantees. I want to know that the future is going to look a certain way, that I'm going to feel a certain way, that my health is going to be a certain way. And what I realize is that's not at all in my hands. But I know that I can know it right here and now, and I can trust that the foundation I stand on is supporting me, and that the beliefs that I have as being on the Science of Mind path are guiding me, that I can grow and heal and transform and expand my consciousness into freedom regardless of the circumstances or the conditions. So that invites us to realize that in the moment, life is a mystery. It's all a mystery. None of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. But we know what's available to us right now. So we bump into the sharp edges of our growth experience or our growing evolution. We can either stay stuck in it or we can keep moving, because it requires that we take action. Science of Mind, Living the Science of Mind book by Dr. Ernest Holmes, and I don't know if there are any copies back there, but you might want to have this in your library. And we're studying this in our practitioner class. It has a little section on self-awareness is not enough. I want to just read this to you. He says, let's talk about the need for meeting situations as they come along, without fear and without in any way trying to avoid them. For every issue of life must be met right where it is. And what is wrong must be made right. This coming to understand our psychological difficulties and how to clear the passageway in order that the original source of life may flow through us unobstructed, in its broadest sense, is called self-awareness. It means clearing up the mind of the conflicts which are so deeply buried that we are aware of them only because they re-echo in everything we do, think, and say. Coming to oneself, coming to awareness, coming to understand why and how we started on the wrong path emotionally, explaining this to the self, this is what's meant by self-awareness. But self-awareness alone is not enough for this reason. There is an incessant urge back of everything to create, to express life, to come to the gratification of happiness, peace, joy, and self-expression. Self-awareness is not enough. It's merely clearing the track for right action. Would you love that? Something has to be done with self-awareness. We're not seeking a way to escape from life or living, for this would be the exact opposite of the whole purpose of existence, which is to express the self. Express your broken self? No. Express your whole self, which is already who you are. That's your true self. It's already available to you. It's already within you. So how do we do that? Well, we reach out when we need support. Thank God for practitioners, ministers, therapists, psychologists, friends, blah, 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 whatever it is that you reach out for support. And we don't believe in our teaching that you don't hang out with your dirty laundry and blah, blah. No, when you need support, you get support. But in a healthy way. Because sometimes we go for this or that and we know it's not healthy. We know it's part of our addictive nature, where we try to fill up the empty hole inside of us instead of just having those around us remind us of the truth. But more than anything, we reach in. The theme for this month is reaching higher. What that's really talking about is reaching deeper inside yourself, into your true self, where you turn from the condition, you turn to the truth. You lean on the truth instead of leaning on the lies that we tell ourselves. You know, the truth is constantly awaiting your attention. It's kind of like the sun hidden behind the clouds. When we focus on the sun, and think about the sun, it very quickly dissolves any clouds. It's the same way. The truth is awaiting to clear up the fog and the clouds in your consciousness. It wants to shine on you. It wants to shine through you. It's going, hey! And we're like, oh, I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm lonely, I've been abused as a child, my conditioning was awful. That's not how truth works, because it doesn't see you that way. It sees you as whole, perfect, and complete no matter what. And so we have to begin to identify with the truth already within us rather than the lies or the limiting beliefs. And that requires us to understand how the principles of this teaching work. Hence, take a class, right? And then we make choices. And we're navigating our way in the sailboat of life, tacking all the time, adjusting all the time, remembering all the time, and forgiving ourselves all the time for thinking that the sharpness of life, the vulnerability of life is who we are. At first, it's very unfamiliar to choose the truth, but the more we do, the more easy it is. And Theo is going to share an example of that in a little bit. So I want you to take your card out again. And on the other side, I want you to write the truth that wants to be known about that thing you wrote on the front. The truth that wants to be known. If you were to feel completely free of that challenge, what would that look like? What would that be? What would you know? How would you feel? You could do this every day, 5-10 times a day. It's really powerful. I think most of you are familiar with Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. Well, he has a freaking amazing guided journal that I've been doing since the 4th of July. Every single day, it applies to something I'm working on in my consciousness. It's very powerful. It's called Guided Journal. I bumped into it at a bookstore, and I'm telling everybody about it because I love it so much. Every day I work on his journal. This is what he said the other day, and I love it. The truth is, everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay. Isn't that great? The truth is, everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay. How do we arrive at that? We surrender, we trust, we embrace our growing edges, and we step into the truth until it's made manifest. And so it is.
Reverend Frankie, what was the name of the book again?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
And so now we're going to have Monica share with us some of her beautiful music.
Thank you, Reverend Frankie. All right. Here we go, my original Deeper. More, bigger, louder, faster, more, bigger, faster, louder, mine, garbage, plastic. Try to distract it, you'll lose the fight.
That was great, Monica. Well, I'm going to share a story with you today about health, well-being, in alignment with the topic that Reverend Frankie just talked about. But first, before I do that, I want to bring you attention to some of the physical laws of our physical reality, right? So does anybody know, like, Newton's laws of motion? There's an engineer in the house, so I know that he knows it. Right? So there's the first law is an object that stays at rest will always stay at rest unless it's impacted on by another force. And the second corollary to that law is that an object in motion stays in motion forever, for eternity, unless something else impacts. Another object comes in and applies force to it. It's the first law, right, of motion. And so it's a Monday afternoon, or Monday or Tuesday afternoon, and I'm helping a friend do some yard work. And there's this seemingly rotten tree stump. You know, the kind where you can, like, kick it and then it'll just fall apart. And so I lifted my foot up and I slammed it down on this tree trunk, thinking it was going to completely fall apart, not realizing that it was petrified wood, stone, basically. And for days afterwards, I thought I broke my foot. And, you know, energy in motion, right? Well, it wants to stay in motion until impacted upon by some other force, right? Which is this rock. And something occurs in the body. You know, pain, potentially a broken bone, something occurs. And one of the things that I reflected on, you know, being a practitioner, was that our consciousness is always evolving. It's always expanding. We're expanding creatures. We always want to grow. There's a growing edge to us constantly. The universe is constantly spiraling and expanding. It's never collapsing, really. And on this journey, that's all there is to do, is for us to notice where we hit up against something that disrupts the expansion. And so, me having this challenging thing with my foot, there was something that was very much present, which was the pain, right? I couldn't even walk. I was like this. You know, and as you can see today, I'm pretty free-flowing. It doesn't mean the pain isn't still present. The pain is still there, right? However, I do know some physical laws of the universe, right? An object in motion will stay in motion unless otherwise impacted by something else. So there's a mental process that's going on in my mind that refuses to say, I'm going to lay in bed for a week to heal. No. I know that the body that needs to stay in motion needs to stay in motion. The healing occurs in the motion. Does that make sense? The healing occurs if I keep moving. And so, many times in the human body, we will be impacted by something and we go into rest. We go into rest mode, recovery mode, which is very important. However, if we stay there, we may never get back up. Because a body that's in motion wants to stay in motion. And the bed that we rest in may become the thing, the object that stops the motion. Does that make sense? And a spiritual perspective, what's the thing that keeps us in motion, right? In this teaching, right? Meditation, treatment, prayer, visualization. And so it did not stop me. I kept that in motion as well, because there's a truth There's a truth that I believe in, and that is that the body knows exactly what to do. It's a vessel that we've been given, and it's perfect. It knows how to heal itself. It really does. All we need to do is feed it the right stuff, right? Part of that feeding is in here. And so I knew, let me reach out to Reverend Frankie. Let me ask for treatment. Let me do my own treatment work. Let me stay in motion. Let me drink lots of water. And all of a sudden, something particular started to happen. The pain disappeared. Well, not really. But my connection to the pain that was in my body, the pain's still there. I could feel it. All of the meaning that I had made that pain mean to me disappeared. So I no longer make it mean discomfort. I no longer make it mean that I can't walk. I no longer make it mean that it's going to stop me from doing something. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
And so there's a truth that I'm living into. And I've that the body knows what to do and how to do it. And that I see myself enjoying life regardless that there's pain present. And it is the thing that has now kept me in motion. So there's something that I want to do here, and that is to bring forth a process that I do whenever this kind of stuff happens, because this stuff happens all the time. It doesn't have to be physical. It could be somebody cuts you off on the highway, and you're like, right? And then you're like, I hope that person crashes, or you start thinking things, and then, oh, no, like, so the first step is to notice what you're noticing. And what Ernest Holmes says in Living the Science of Mind, right? Self-awareness is not enough, right? So that first step is self-awareness, noticing what you're noticing. Notice where your mind went in that moment. Did it go to truth, or did it go to some affectation of the world? Like, did it go to some physical reality thing that said, you're bad? Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm bad. I'm not lovable. Oh my gosh, I'm hurt. I want to be in bed for a week. Like, did it go to, so where did your mind go? The first part, noticing what you're noticing. Part of that is then noticing that it's distinctly different from truth. So the truth is no, my body knows how to heal. Or the truth is no, we're all human beings. That person's not an asshole. They're just me in another skin suit, and they may be having a bad day. Right? There's a truth there. There's something there. We bring ourselves to the truth in the noticing. And then if we continue to have the thought that's negative, we can cancel it out. Now, I use this process. I learned this process, 15 years ago from Reverend Jennifer Berkeley. Cancel, cancel. So you take your hand. Everybody take your hand out. I'm just going to show you this. And literally wave it in front of your eyes and say the word cancel, cancel. Cancel, cancel. Now, there's something that happens, right? There's something that happens. Because you're moving, you're putting the body in motion. When your body's in motion, it's releasing chemicals, hormones, electricity. There's all these things that are occurring. If you just thought something that was in the untruth or unconstructive or negative spectrum of thought, and then you do a process that disrupts it, cancel, cancel, that has motion and energy, it's going to then align something. Something's going to happen energetically that aligns you. And then the next thing to do is to affirm your truth. Affirm your truth immediately after cancel, cancel. Oh, it's going to be a bad day today. Oh, cancel, cancel. It's a beautiful and wonderful day. Oh, my foot really hurt. Cancel, cancel. Right? I have the ability to walk, and I'm free to move. Like, there's truth. So notice what you're noticing. Cancel, cancel if it's negative. Affirm the truth right after it. Understood? Yeah. Awesome. Very good. So I have a little affirmation for all of us today. And that is, and you can repeat after me. I lean on truth.
I lean on truth.
Now I align and I bind to the truth.
Now I align
And I bind to the truth of my being,
the truth of my being,
the truth of my life.
the truth of my life.
All lines of power and energy,
All lines of power and energy
fortify the truth of who I am.
fortify the truth of who I am.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you.
Treatment.
Oh, guess what? I'm going to treatment. Isn't that funny how we could just...
Yeah.
So we're at the end, and I'm going to anchor this all right now in the treatment. So let's just close our eyes and collectively, as a community, let's just all take a nice deep breath. And there's something so refreshing. There's something so renewing. There's something so revitalizing in that deep breath. Do it again. Take a deep breath. It is life itself. Breathing you. Right here, right now. The truth. Life is living as us, through us, breathing us. Thank you. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you, oh, infinite universe, a beautiful divine intelligence that is everywhere present. We all open up our awareness to the beauty and the glory of this life right here, right now. And we lean into that truth always and forevermore, knowing that it's always got our back. It's truly who we are as a beingness. And it is wonderful, isn't it? Yes. And so it is. Amen.
Okay, hello, 1, 2. That's right, okay. To finish the service today, we're going to do a little participation, audience participation. You can choose between clapping, dancing, or choreography, or singing, or a combination of those. So it goes like this. It's about abundance, and also it's called waterfalls. And I guess I'll just make them up this today. So it's gonna be like this. Everybody stand up. So the first words and movements is waterfalls of love flow on us. Waterfalls of love flow over us.
Over us.
Right, and now we're gonna radiate it out. Waterfalls of love flow out of us.
Waterfalls of love flow
Out of us. Waterfalls of love flow out of us.
out of us.
Okay? Here, let's do that part first, and then we'll do the second part. No, that's all right. You can do it from here. Waterfalls of love flow over us. You're right. Thank you. I did it wrong. Waterfalls of love flow on us. Waterfalls of love flow over us. Waterfalls of love flow on us. Waterfalls of love flow over us. And if you have better moves that make you feel the words better, then do those. You don't have to, it's just a suggestion. All right. And then the second part is, there is enough to go around. There is enough to go around. last part. The rhythm is going to go like this. We're going to make it a little, so it's going to be 2 and 1. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Waterfalls of love for us. Waterfalls of love for us. Waterfalls of love for us. So you can pick, sing or clap. I suggest you pick one. Or two at the most. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Waterfalls of love flow us. Waterfalls of love flow us. Waterfalls of love flow out of us. Waterfalls of love flow out of us. There is enough to go around. There is enough for everyone. There is enough to go around. There is enough for everyone. Okay, something else, something else. Everybody, something else somebody's really craving these days. Yes? Swimming? Swimming in water, in nature? All right, here we go. Waterfalls of joy flow out of us. 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 There is enough to go around. There is enough for everyone. There is enough to go around. There is enough for everyone. Let's do health. Ready? 1, 2, here we go. Waterfalls of health flow on us. Waterfalls of health flow over us. Waterfalls of health flow on us. Waterfalls of health flow over us. There is enough to go around. There is enough for everyone. There is enough to go around. There is enough for everyone. All right, guys. Feel the abundance today. And have a great rest of your day.
That's a row.